Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we're going to tackle a subject that's not exactly a light and breezy beach read, but it is essential, and that's long-term care.
Yeah.
And we'll be diving deep into Allstate's whole life with long-term care program.
Right.
And, it's fascinating because this whole thing, it makes you think, what happens if I need help down the line?
Exactly.
Right. And so this isn't just about insurance. It's about preparing for a future need.
Right.
A need most of us don't want to think about.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But here's the thing. Wouldn't you rather be informed and in control?
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is that this isn't some far off concept.
Yeah. Right.
Think about it. 70% of people over 65 will need some form of long-term care.
Wow.
It could be anything from help with, daily tasks at home to specialized care in a facility.
Okay, hold on. 70%. That's a lot higher than I would have guessed.
It is.
And it makes you realize this isn't just about quote unquote getting old.
Right.
Right. What if an accident or illness happens earlier in life? Suddenly you need assistance with everyday things.
Right.
We're talking bathing dressing, eating, stuff we usually take for granted.
Exactly. And it's about maintaining your quality of life when you can't do it all yourself.
Right.
And that's where the costs come in, which is what makes this conversation so important.
Right. Because let's be real, this kind of care doesn't come cheap.
No, it does not.
I was looking at the Genworth 2023 cost of care survey, and the numbers are eye-opening.
Yeah, they are.
An in-home health aid, that's about $75,500 per year.
Yeah.
And if you need a nursing home, we're talking over $104,000 annually.
And a private room. Add another $12,000 to that.
Wow.
And those are just averages.
Wow.
The cost of care in the final 5 years of life for someone with dementia can reach almost $370,000, according to the Alzheimer's Association.
That's more than some people's mortgages. You could wipe out your savings trying to cover those costs. It makes you wonder if most health insurance plans cover this, or even Medicare.
Here's the catch. They often don't.
Oh.
Standard health insurance and even the Affordable Care Act typically don't cover long-term care.
So what about Medicaid? Isn't that a safety net for these situations?
It can be, but it often requires you to deplete most of your assets.
Right.
It's usually a last resort for many. That's why programs like this Allstate hybrid policy are gaining traction.
Okay, so let's talk about this hybrid approach. What makes it different from traditional long-term care insurance?
A hybrid policy like this one combines life insurance with long-term care benefits.
Okay.
So you're essentially getting a 2-for-1 deal.
I see. So it's not just about leaving money for your beneficiaries after you're gone.
Yeah.
You can actually use a portion of that death benefit to cover your own care while you're still alive.
Exactly. It provides a way to access those funds when you need them most.
That's a really interesting concept. But how does it actually play out? The brochure mentions a couple of scenarios, like the terminal illness example. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. Let's say you're diagnosed with a terminal illness with a life expectancy of 12 months or less.
Okay.
This policy allows you to access up to 75% of your death benefit to cover any related costs.
Right.
Think of it as financial peace of mind during a very difficult time.
So it's not just about leaving money behind. It's about having resources available when you need them most. What about that other scenario? They described the one with the extension of benefits with full restoration long-term care rider. Sounds a bit complicated.
It's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Imagine you need long-term care because you can't perform 2 or more activities of daily living.
Right.
Things like bathing, dressing, or eating.
Right.
This policy lets you use 6% of your death benefit per month for up to 17 months. That's money you can use to cover those care expenses.
Okay, so you can access those funds, but what happens to the rest of the death benefit? Does it just disappear?
This is where it gets clever. With the full restoration rider, your long-term care benefit reloads back to the original amount, essentially giving you another 17 months.
Interesting.
What's even better is that your full death benefit is restored for your beneficiaries when you pass.
So it's like having a safety net that refills itself. You can access funds for care, and your loved ones still receive the full benefit. That's a big deal for a lot of people.
Absolutely. This feature really sets it apart from traditional long-term care insurance, where once you use the benefit, it's gone.
Okay, so this hybrid approach sounds pretty impressive, but who is it actually a good fit for? The brochure talks about appealing to people of different ages, but why would someone in their 20s or 40s consider this?
You're right. It's not just for people nearing retirement. For someone in their 20s, the biggest draw might be locking in a low rate.
Right.
While they're young and healthy. Those premiums stay the same even as they get older.
It's like getting ahead of the game, especially if you're the type who likes to plan for the long term. What about for someone in their 40s?
As we enter our 40s, thoughts of retirement and the what-ifs of health become more real.
Yeah.
The guaranteed acceptance becomes crucial here. No medical exams.
Right.
No worries about being denied due to pre-existing conditions. Plus, they've had more time to build up savings, so the premiums might be more manageable.
That makes sense. And of course, as we get closer to 65 or are already retired, the need for this kind of safety net becomes even more apparent.
Right.
Especially considering that 70% statistic we talked about.
Exactly. The peace of mind, knowing you have coverage regardless of your health.
Yeah.
And with premiums that won't suddenly spike, that's invaluable.
So it seems like there are compelling reasons to consider this type of policy at various stages of life. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts of this Allstate program. What are some of the key features they highlight?
One of the standouts is the guaranteed 4.5% interest rate on the whole life policy. That's a pretty solid rate in today's market, and it means your cash value grows steadily. They also emphasize their simple guaranteed issue underwriting.
Right, that no medical tests, no physical exams thing seems like a big deal for many. But let's say you're well, how soon can you start using those long-term care benefits?
There is a 90-day elimination period.
Okay.
Which means you cover the first 90 days of care yourself, and there's a 6-month waiting period.
Okay.
If you need care for a pre-existing condition that you had within 6 months before your policy started.
Okay, so important things to keep in mind. What else should we know?
The whole life policies are fully paid up at age 95.
Okay.
And mature by 121.
Okay.
So essentially you stop paying premiums at 95.
Okay.
But the policy stays active and the death benefit is still payable. They also talk a lot about the policy's portability.
Right, that you can take it with you if you change jobs with no cost increase or reduction in benefits. That's great for flexibility. But why would someone enroll right now, especially if it's offered through their employer? What's so special about open enrollment?
Open enrollment is a golden opportunity because you can lock in your coverage without having to answer health questions.
Right.
It's guaranteed issue, which is especially valuable as you get older.
Yeah.
And your health might change. They also have this reserve your right to increase coverage option.
Yes. That part really caught my eye. You can start with a smaller policy and increase it later.
Right.
Without those pesky health questions. It's like future-proofing your coverage.
Exactly. It's about having control and options, even if your circumstances change.
Okay. Allstate is definitely giving us a lot to think about. What's their final message to those considering this program?
They really emphasize the importance of making a decision, even if it's a no.
Yeah.
They want people to engage with the opportunity and weigh their options and choose what's best for their unique situation.
It's not about pushing a product. It's about encouraging informed choices. We've laid out a lot of information today, but what do you think are the key takeaways our listeners should walk away with? This is a big decision after all.
I think the biggest takeaway here is that long-term care is something that most of us will face at some point. It's not a question of if, but when you know.
Right.
And planning for it can make a huge difference, not just financially, but emotionally too.
You know, we often get so caught up in like the day-to-day, that big what-ifs, get pushed aside.
Absolutely.
But the reality is an accident or illness can happen at any time, and suddenly you're facing these huge decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And imagine having to make those decisions while also dealing with the stress of a health crisis.
Oh, gosh.
It's not just about protecting your finances. It's about protecting your peace of mind and your ability to make choices that align with your values.
And that brings us back to this Allstate program. It's not just a life insurance policy. It's a way to potentially take control of your future care needs.
It's like having a backup plan for one of life's biggest unknowns.
Right.
And that reserve your right to increase coverage option is pretty smart.
Yeah.
You can start with a level of coverage that fits your budget now and adjust it later if needed.
Right. It's like having a safety net that grows with you.
Absolutely. This deep dive is about giving you the information and the confidence to start that conversation.
Yeah.
It's about empowering you to make choices that align with your individual circumstances and goals.
It's like having a roadmap. We've pointed out some landmarks and potential routes, but ultimately you get to decide where you want to go.
Exactly. And that brings us to the most important question. Now that you've learned about the importance of long-term care and explored this hybrid policy as a potential solution.
Right.
What's your next step?
Are you going to pick up the phone and call a advisor? Maybe do some more research online? Or perhaps, start a conversation with your loved ones about your wishes.
The important thing is to take action. Even a small step forward is better than standing still.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about long-term care, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions for yourself and your family.